Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Dreyer, and today we're diving into how we use AgencyZoom inside our insurance agency to help us manage our operation, improve workflows, increase accountability, and scale efficiently. Now, for a little context on who I am and why any of this matters to you, I've been in the insurance industry for over 20 years. Today, our organization includes our property and casualty agency, as well as our Medicare agency and FMO, which is 970 Medicare. Altogether, we have over 50 team members, and this year we're on pace to exceed $9 million in revenue. Now, on the P&C side, we're very proud to be a farmers agency, and over the years, we've been honored to receive the Farmers Agency of the Year award twice, as well as the Financial Services Agency of the Year award 3 times, and the Specialty Agency of the Year award 3 times. And all of those trophies are sitting right here. And I know they're glass, you can't read what they say, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But a big part of our success and growth and operational efficiency has come from building systems, automations, and processes that help us scale. And AgencyZoom has played a major role in that. We use it actually in both of our agencies, our P&C agency and our Medicare agency. And that's why I'm very excited today to be joined by Mariah Gates from Accelerated Automation, who specializes in helping agencies build and customize AgencyZoom automations and workflows. So before we jump in, quick disclaimer to keep the lawyers happy. The strategies and workflows and automations discussed in this video are shared for educational and informational purposes only. Every agency is responsible for ensuring its own compliance with all applicable state, federal, and local laws and regulations. The requirements also of your insurance carriers that you represent are your own responsibilities. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, if you find value in videos like this, please make sure to give us a thumbs up on the video, drop your questions or thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on future content. Also, I wanted to let you know we have a Facebook group where agency owners and team members share ideas, ask questions, talk about what's working, what's not working in their agencies. So please make sure to join that community as well. The link is in the description. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Thank you, Mariah, for joining us. This video, we're going to do a high-level walkthrough of our AgencyZoom account. We've got a lot of friends in the industry that ask a lot of questions and have requested to see what's inside of our AgencyZoom account. So I called my friend Mariah, who actually helped us set it up a long, long time ago. And Mariah, you used to be a farmer's agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
that's correct.
And tell us a little bit more about your evolution from farmer's agent, agency owner, to helping people set up AgencyZoom. You were kind of doing the same, and now you're like deep into the insurtech world doing big things. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I got recruited into farmers insurance out of the banking industry. That's actually a pretty common path, it seems like. I've heard that story a lot from people. So I was working at JP Chase, got recruited to farmers, started a scratch agency. The Cliff Notes version of all of this, right? Because we know how difficult it is to start a scratch agency. I was never a producer before. I just decided, hey, why learn from anybody else? I guess I'll just do it myself. It was a horrible decision. I don't recommend that. It was like just the worst few years of my life, but I learned a ton, a lot of hard work. And I ended up getting another agency from farmers. I ran that for a few years, won toppers and different trips and things like that. And then sold that agency and moved to Idaho, and farmers gave me another office through their seed program. So farmers was really good to me. They gave me 2 agencies. And I was really used to operations, like processes and SOPs and really great tech when I came from banking, and that didn't exist in insurance. And it was really surprising to me. At one point I told my husband, like, I don't understand how this industry is still kind of like alive because it just felt like everything was so broken compared to banking. So, anyways, the agency I got here in Idaho, I ended up stumbling upon a marketing program. And in that marketing program, I got my first exposure to an insurance CRM, which was AgencyZoom, which was a small tech startup at the time. So they had like 5 employees there. I started working with the founder. If anyone has ever heard or seen me speak, I have a lot of opinions. I'm not, like shy about them. And so I was telling him like, man, I wish it did this. And I wish it did that. And I just started giving all this feedback. And Mo, I joke like 7 years ago, he said, no, don't stop. I kind of apologize. I'm sorry, I'm picking apart your software. He's like, no, don't stop. And 7 years later, I'm still picking apart his software. But it was acquired by Vertafore about 4 years ago. And about 2 years before that, agents like you, Jesse, had started asking me to help them because I was sharing it all over Facebook. And I was just so excited for this tool that was making it easier for me to offload work, keep an eye on my team, and start to scale. I started hiring producers and growing. So I was a small agent. And I just saw the future of my business through this tool, was sharing it all over. People asked me to help them. I said no for months. Mo asked me to help other agents. I told him no for months, really prayed about it a lot, and ultimately decided the Lord had a plan for me. This was a skill I had, operations and kind of melding tech into operations. So I did it on the side. My goal was to pay for my housekeeper because I hate cleaning houses.
Me too.
That was my goal. I wanted to make $500 a month to pay a housekeeper. 7 years later, we've helped 930 agencies. About half of those are independent. Half of them are captive. They've ranged from brand new startup all the way to, so far, our largest client is $12 million in revenue, 60 employees. And, we do about $2 million in revenue with 15 employees here. And so it just started as a little side gig, and it was a huge blessing. I love it. I sold my agency 2 years ago because this takes all of my bandwidth.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast. So we work in AgencyZoom, but we do a lot of other tech. We have developers, and we're actually coming out with our first couple pieces of technology that we will own to solve some problems for agents that just the solutions don't exist today. So that's my story.
Well, I love it. And I'm personally super proud of you. I don't know if that matters to you, but I've enjoyed watching the journey and watching you kick butt. So congratulations.
No, I appreciate that. Jesse, when you reached out to me, when I first worked with you, I think at the time, weren't you Agent of the Year? Or maybe it was a year before. It was really close.
Yeah.
In that timeline.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, Jesse Dreyer wants me to help him with this system. I was so intimidated, but you're such a nice guy. You're not intimidating. It was just your achievements were very impressive. So that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, we appreciate you helping us. And I was trying to think about this morning. I was like, what did we do before we had AgencyZoom? And I was remembering how crazy our follow-up process was. So yeah, that's interesting. But so we'll jump in here in just a second, but before we do that, let's talk about a little bit more about why I was, again, on my thought train this morning. I was thinking sometimes I forget that there are agents or agencies that don't do all the same things that we do. I think that everyone operates like we do, and then so when I hear them asking oh, should I set up AgencyZoom? I'm like, how are you living without it? What are you doing? You have paper? What's going on? But before AgencyZoom, we had kind of tried to mesh together our own more intelligent version of notes and follow up in Microsoft OneNote. So and before that, we just had notebooks, 3-ring binders with quote sheets. And we would just call everybody every single day, flip the page. All right, I got to call this person, flip the page. I got to call this person. So that was my organization system before. And some people watching this might say, oh, well, that's my organization system right now. I got a stack of quote sheets and I'm calling people and trying to scribble notes on it. And I can remember the problem was, those pages wear out, or you spill your coffee on them. Or I remember back when I was a 3-ring binder guy, I took a vacation because at the time I was super broke and I couldn't afford a vacation, but my uncle took me to Las Vegas with him, and I had to take my 3-ring binder, and I had to take my 3-ring binder out to the pool because it was just
Yeah.
me. And if a client called, I needed to be able to pull out that quote page and sell that while we were at the pool that day. Because I was like, I got to get this done. I'm happy that I'm here in Vegas, but that's just how ridiculous the system was, so I'm like carrying around this 3-ring binder full of quotes. Because we have to keep that information somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to be able to retrieve that information and then follow up. And then so we morphed it into OneNote, which was cool, but very, very difficult because Microsoft, right? So
Yeah, it's a tough ecosystem.
yeah. But then you were talking about AgencyZoom, and I think that's how I actually came to hear about it, and then you helped us set it up. So that do you even? And it was so funny. We were talking the other day. You still had my password because I've never changed my password from when we set it up.
Yep.
So maybe I ought to update that. But anyway.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. No, I mean, and there's agencies every day that we talk to who are still operating like that. And I don't really think there's any shame in that. The insurance industry, has these dinosaur tech companies and they've developed tools, but even today, only 27% of insurance agents have a CRM. And I don't know, it's so odd to me. And I don't know how I even got so far into the industry without thinking about it, because we had a CRM at Chase. Like that's how we kept track of all of our clients. And the industry, like on the farmer side, right? They've made some attempts. They tried Sims. They had ECMS. Now they have Apex, which is
Sims.
Salesforce.
Did you just say Sims? Oh, I forgot
did.
about that. You just gave me a flashback.
Trauma. But then they have Salesforce now, and the part that, like, especially on the captive side, when I talk to agents, you got to keep in mind, like, because people get frustrated with software from carriers. They're building the software for them, right? Like their primary goal, they're spending millions of dollars for Salesforce to work for farmers and to do the things they need it to do. And the agents have to use it, but it's like they're a consideration in the process, but it's not what they're building it for, right? They have to have it for the carrier. So tools like AgencyZoom, where it was founded by a developer and an agent, an Allstate agent, actually Tolga was one of the founding members. They were building it for the gap that they saw. And there's been other ones that have popped up in the market. But what has elevated AgencyZoom specifically is the fact that you can not only do sales in it, but you can also do customer service, which is so unique for a CRM. Most CRMs are only sales based. And the other piece is integration. And farmers agents that are watching this, you guys don't necessarily have that yet. There is like a quoting bridge, which is really helpful for personal lines. But on the independent side, it integrates into the largest AMS systems that have the largest market share. So it actually updates, kind of their version of Apex, if you will, as they use the CRM. And that's huge. Some of these other private, smaller CRM companies, like they're great platforms, but they usually only focus on sales and they don't have any integration. And that's why AgencyZoom has been so popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So farmers, if you're listening to this, integrate, please integrate.
I think it's getting closer and closer and harder for them to ignore that request.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see.
And I think they did just put it into the store to where there's some cost share now. So that's a step in the right direction. So
yes. All
right, let's jump in. Let me screen share my AgencyZoom account and we'll jump into this. Whenever you log in, you have a dashboard, folio just reset. There's some nice metrics here. Shows you what you're training for. You can set your goals, all this kind of stuff. So this is fun. Our team loves to look at this. We have this up on a big, like 70-inch screen in the middle of our sales floor, and the agents are constantly like going up and refreshing it, and then being competitive and like, oh, hey, I just passed you or whatever. So Hunter knows that because you were in that, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. That was something we spent a lot of our time doing. Is just every time we made a sale, we go up, we refresh, get the edge out the other person.
Right. Yeah, I told them at one point they needed to go refresh, flex, and point at everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
But I don't think they're doing that. So, anyways,
I love it.
Cool. Well, let's jump into the pipelines because I know that's what everyone wants to see. So we'll kind of just talk about like what the pipelines look like, and then we'll look at a couple of the automation pieces. So our big pipeline is our No, not this one. PNC sales pipeline. So this is, you can see there's a lot of stuff in here. This is where all of our leads come in. And we'll just talk real easy, real quick, and then we'll go a little more in detail. But new lead, this is the stage where new leads drop in, right? So it's somebody we haven't talked to yet. New lead comes in automatically. So that is where that lives. And then the contacted stage, pretty simple. It just means we spoke to this person, but we weren't able to get it to any of these stages further, right? So, we talked to them, maybe they're walking into a doctor's appointment and, they're like, just call me back, right? Obviously, we would love to get an appointment set with that person, but maybe for whatever reason we didn't. And so we want to continue to follow up in this stage. Appointment set is very simply an appointment set, right? If we have an appointment set with somebody, we don't want a bunch of weird text and email automation going out because it's like, hey, I set an appointment, let's talk then, right? And then quoted hot lead and quoted warm lead. The reason why we have these two split is because we use some of the Insurance Sales Lab call reporting that looks at this stage. So a quoted hot lead is somebody that we quoted, but we weren't able to one call close, basically, right? They're thinking about it, whatever. We weren't able to overcome the objection, but we want to follow up with them 5 days in a row. That's the expectation, right?
Yep.
Is it 5 days?
Yep.
Cool. And Hunter's done this more.
Yeah.
Hunter's been in there working it more recently, so sometimes I'm need him to remind me. So
You mean you're not selling insurance every day in your agency, Jesse? What?
I haven't talked to a customer in years, so that's a blessing.
Well, it should be.
I could still do it if I need to at any time.
Hey, I believe you.
Hey, yeah, we could get it done. But
We'll let him believe that, right, Hunter?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, I bet it
might
would
be a
go.
little rusty, but anyway, so quoted hot lead, this is 5 days of call, text, and email every day. And then the shot clock will automatically move it to quoted warm lead, where we're not calling them every single day, but there's continuing to be text and email automation. And then there's, I think, like a Hail Mary call in there, right? Do we have it?
Yeah, so about a month down the line, there's one last Hail Mary call.
Yeah.
You get them on the phone, make your case one last time.
Yep.
See if you can close it.
Yep. So that's that. Approved hot follow-up. What is this stage, Hunter?
Yeah, so approved hot follow-up is a stage that we use for the client is good to go. They're wanting to go ahead and proceed, but there's one thing that we still need from the client.
Yeah.
A good example of that for us is going to be like confirmation of roof replacement form being signed. So the client's on board, they want to pull the trigger, but there's one thing we need. It could be payment information even.
Yeah. Yeah, or like my daughter's driver's license number or something.
Documents.
Yeah, but they're like, yep, I want it. There's just something left that I can't hit the button on. So, and there's a lot of very frequent fast follow-up on that because we don't want to let it go cold and we don't want it to go to someone else because we all know that most leads are shared and other people are calling. So, pending submit is a stage where we move stuff to where we have all the information we need to bind. We're just waiting to push the button literally in the system, right? And that might be because somebody, they're starting their auto insurance on the 15th and they don't want the payment to come out today, right? Or maybe it's a home closing and they're closing on the 22nd and we're not going to bind the policy till the day of the closing because closing dates change, right? So that'll sit there. Nice thing you can see there is like, how much you have in pending submit. So you can kind of see what's coming to sold. So like right now we have 54,000 in premium sitting in our pending submit. So we kind of have, a good idea that there's a lot of that coming pretty quick. And 36 households. So and then obviously sold is where we're trying to get everybody to. And, that's the end stage of the pipeline. And you can see, how much you have in sold right here. So, that is our biggest pipeline. There's a lot of automation in there, but that's kind of what the stages are. Any thoughts or comments on that, Mariah? The pipeline stages?
I would just say, kind of going back to your appointment set. So I love that you guys use a digital calendar. So you said, obviously we want to have everybody schedule an appointment. So I know you guys are using Calendly. There's other systems like Microsoft Booking, Google Calendar, if you want to get something that's, free that you can kind of test this theory out. Some agents, this can be kind of a weird transition where you're used to just trying to grab people when they're available versus scheduling a time to talk to them. But as I know you guys have seen in many other agents, it is received very well when they can pick a time that works for their calendar and show up on that meeting. So that's kind of how that's working there. There's a link in the automation. They can click it, schedule an appointment, and then it updates your CRM because you guys have that automation built. The only other thing I was going to add on the like pending sold one, and some of the agencies we work with will do 2 because we have like a pending for this month. For farmers, of course, you have a folio period. So you're trying to hit your goal each folio period. So we'll sometimes split this where you have one for the current folio and one for the next folio. So like you said, we're home closings. If we know that they're going to close on their house, August 20th and today is July 2nd, well, that business isn't going to close in this folio. So that number at the top, that 54,000, it does help you project if you're on track to hit your goal. So like, wow, we really need to get more business going, or you know what, we've already hit our goal, counting our pending business that just needs to be bound. So that's another like just little small tidbit. But at the end of the day, this is a really easy to follow pipeline. It's very organized. It's very clear as to what deals are where. And I also like that you guys have that task count piece on, so you can kind of make sure your team is scheduling those follow-ups as well.
Yeah, tell me what is the task count? Because you turned that on, and honestly, I don't even know what it is.
So what it does is it just makes it very visual. So if you're kind of doing a pipeline scrub and you're looking through it, whether you're a producer or manager, you can see what leads have a scheduled next step and which ones don't. So like if we were to open up the Daniel's lead, it says task count is 0. That means there's no manual task scheduled for Jasmine, the producer, like no reminder for her to do something next. Gotcha. In my opinion, I always want to know, when are you touching this lead next? Because otherwise we really are just relying on the automation, and the automation will help you reach more people, but it shouldn't be a crutch that you rely on and only do that. It's an assist so that if Daniel responds to an automation, you didn't have to place that phone call. But if he doesn't, you still need to place the phone call and work the lead. So, with your guys's, because you of course use Ricochet as your dialer, so you're not using tasks for brand new leads. Those are going through the dialer. But once they get into the pipeline, the producers are managing their pipeline through AgencyZoom. And those tasks, when used consistently, it's their marching orders for the day. So it doesn't matter if the lead is in this pipeline or in your recycle pipeline or anywhere else. Maybe it's a life lead. They know exactly who they're reaching out to that day, who are warm prospects in their system.
Gotcha. So this is tasks in the future, or tasks due today, or maybe tasks?
Any task. If there is a task associated with this lead, it will show you. So the one up there, that Bruce one, it says task count is 1. So there is a scheduled task. It doesn't matter. It could be past due, it could be current, it could be future. It just means a task is associated with that lead.
Gotcha. So, I mean, if this is approved hot follow-up, everyone should have a task. So I should probably look and see why this one has a 0 task count, because we should.
Yeah, and we want our producers working through their task list throughout the day. But I always recommend you should be opening up your pipeline at least like once a day, kind of a spot check, review it, scroll, look for some of these basic indicators to make sure that you don't have anything falling through the cracks.
Yeah. And for those of you that are brand new, there's a today's task over here in the left. If you click on it, it'll just show you all the tasks that you have for today. I'm looking at my own, so I don't have any tasks, but if I was, somebody selling, there would be tasks here, and they would.
If you want to show that, you can actually go up to the filter, Jesse, and change the name, pick anybody you want there. But the nice thing about this from a management perspective is you really can see like how much they're supposed to be doing that day. So you're not going to see obviously the dialer calls through Ricochet, but you're going to see the people who've gotten past the dialer and are now in your system. What is your team supposed to be doing today? Yeah. So I like spot checking this from management perspective to make sure that past due isn't stacking up. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we behind on calls? Do they have too much? Because if you've got a really good producer and they've got too much volume, but they're closing, that is a great time to get them like an assistant. Get them somebody to help with the follow-ups so they can close more. But these are all, very quick and easy management pieces to peek in on if your team is using it well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, what I find a lot of times is people will do the tasks and they just don't mark them complete. So it's like, hey, come on, complete your task. So,
it's the consistency, right? It's opening this name, clicking on the name, opening it up, working the lead, completing it, coming back. So you're really migrating from your task to your lead throughout the whole day.
Yep. let's look at a little bit of the automation in that pipeline we just reviewed. So P&C sales pipeline, new lead. So there's a lot in here. The bulk of what we're doing now is home leads. So if we look at tags that say home, we'll just look at that specifically and filter. So if a home lead comes in, it's tagged as home, and that's how everything knows what to do. But the very first text that they would get is this, and it just says, "Hey, Hunter, this is Jesse from Jesse Dreyer Agency. I received your home insurance quote request online and it inserts their address, so it's personalized. My team has your quote started. It's looking really good. Please call us back so we can share the price with you." And I have a little business card image that goes out with it. So it just kind of puts a face in front of them. So, they can see my high school glamour shot. And, everybody's got their headshot from 10 years ago. But, just throws them a little business card, makes it a little more personal. I'm a real person. And I think that's good. So.
I love that you have the address in there. There's so much AI and automation and things like that these days. It's obviously really caught on, and it's very easy to be generic. The more personalized you can make that message, the more likely someone's going to engage and reply because they know that you specifically have their information. So love this template.
Yeah. And then they get an email instantly as well. And this email is intentional, right? It has their name in and merge tag for their name. So it'd say, "Hunter, your home insurance quote for 123, Main Street is looking really good." So they see that in their inbox, and it's very personalized. And I think we have a fairly good open rate because of that. And then it's just, same thing. "Hey, we've got your home quote started. It's looking good. Call us back so we can confirm discounts." And, if you use the Insurance Sales Lab scripts, this is basically what I would be saying to them if I got them on the phone.
Right.
And so, I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just saying the same thing via email. And then kind of like we talked about, please call us back or review your quote, or pick a time, as we have our Calendly link in here. There's kind of two camps on this. I know some agents don't like to schedule appointments. We do, so really whatever your preference is. But, if you're sending this to, a person with a very busy schedule or, whatever it is, whatever they are, a lot of times those kind of people like to schedule an appointment, and they don't love the constant, call me back. And then I'm on the phone. It's like a never ending game of phone tag. I got a compliment from one of my buddies that is a banker here locally. And, he's got a busy schedule. He's like, "Hey, I just loved that you guys sent me a link to where I could schedule a time. I didn't have to wait for a call back, blah, blah, blah." And that was great. I wish everyone would do that. So, and some people maybe don't like it. But anyways, we give them the option to call us back or pick a time. So.
Yeah, this is obviously optional, not required. I would agree with you. It's funny that you said that he was a banker. We see more affluent consumers that go for this option. They are more used to meeting with a tax advisor or a lawyer or their banker, and more people go towards appointments. So I love the option. And again, it's an option. So those who don't want to do it don't have to, and they can continue to email or play phone tag or text you. Most of this comes down to meeting the consumer where they are and what they prefer. So you've got a mix of emails, text messages, phone calls, and the ability to book.
Yeah.
That's kind of all we have available in today's world, right? Maybe one day we'll be able to deploy one of Elon Musk's robots to walk to their house, knock on the door. But for now, that's not an option. So these are all the choices.
Yes, I'll send my agent bot to come sit at your kitchen table with you.
Have you seen those things? It's possible.
We follow up with a text message later on in the day, kind of just mimicking our call cadence. So, "Hey, so-and-so, or "Hey, Hunter, this is Jesse with Farmers Insurance. My team's been reaching out, leaving messages for you. Your home insurance quote's looking really good. I have a merge tag in here for home quote. So if you put the price in here, it'll display it. And we found that people really like it if you'll show them a price. Some people don't like to do that. Some people do. Whatever, you choose. Call me back or pick a time. We have the calendar link in that text as well. So, kind of all the same strategy there. We also wrote this to where if that merge tag, like if you haven't quoted the home, it'll still read fine, right? So your home quote's looking really good, end of sentence, or your home quote's looking really good, $2,500, so.
Yeah, that's actually, so if you're looking at AgencyZoom for that feature, it's called a custom field. So you make the custom field and your team member would type in that dollar amount and update the lead, and then it will show up in this template. I did want to point out one other thing when you were talking about how this triggers. You mentioned it was off of tags. If you look on the left side of the screen, you guys, you'll see under triggers, it's actually triggered based on the lead source category, which is definitely the best way to build it because there's a lot of reports. So when you're building your automations, always work on that left side of the screen, top to bottom. So if it's location, source, or category, then you have your personal or commercial, and then you'll have your tags. But that's built intentionally by AgencyZoom so you can stack and really filter down to different types of leads. Obviously, we're talking internet leads here, but lots of agencies have different types. So I just wanted to point out that this is around category, and that if you're trying to build your own fields, you're looking for custom fields at AgencyZoom.
Yep, perfect. All right, so if we keep cruising, day 2, we're sending them another, and I think you were right, I filtered by
Tag.
So should change that.
Yeah, I think there's some more in there. And this is another great piece that some people overlook, the ability to filter your automation, because as you build and build, there gets to be quite a bit in here. And it's a lot to look at. It gets difficult. So this filter piece is a nice way to segment just one part of your automation.
Yeah, so all my home lead vendors, I have it in as the category. So cool. All right, now that should be right. So day 2, they're getting text. Again, hey, sure you're busy. You might be overwhelmed thinking about changing insurance. Good news is we already have your quote started. Again, the price is in there if you have it. Just need to verify some information, see if we missed any discounts. Call me back or pick a time. So again, it's really follows like what I would say. So like if you're programming these texts, just think of what you would say and say it a couple different ways. And there's, you can use AI to script out a lot of this too.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some text messages that look more like an email or a novel. So short, conversational definitely works much better. You don't need to try to prove how, like eloquent you can be with language or over explain. Really do keep it simple and keep it conversational is the best advice with automation.
Yep. Less is more. This is probably on the long kind of maximum side, I would say.
Yep, I would agree. Yeah, 5 lines.
Yeah. So again, this one will go out to home leads, and then another email here.
Looks like that's commercial.
Oh. Okay.
So the reason that's showing up is because it's applied to all lead sources.
Yeah.
So always be careful of that when you are looking at your own automation. If you see one that says all lead sources, everyone's going to get it. So you want to make sure that you take those out. This one does have an additional filter, which says commercial. So your personal lines leads aren't getting that. But you had an extra trigger on there, right? So always work top to bottom on that left side, like we talked about before.
Cool. All right. So now I'm filtered for personal lines home only. So, all right. So the automation's good. I just had my filters wrong, but
yeah.
All right. So yeah, the email that would go out here, just kind of the same thing, just saying it a little different way, trying to get them to call us or schedule an appointment. And then, I don't want to click through every single one of these because you can see it goes on and on and on and on. So for 29 business days, which is probably about a month and a half, roughly. And then it smart cycles and goes to our continuous drip campaign where we'll touch them every 6 months. But you can see like this email, even the 29th day has been sent out 31,000 times and it's been opened 31% of the time, which I think is pretty darn good. So
it's really good. You should always see the number sending out start at the top higher and reduce because that means the leads have been moved into the next stages. But you always want to be looking for that average, about 40% open rate. But by the end of a campaign, 30 days, and people are still opening them on average 30% of the time, that really helps to disprove anyone's concern about like bothering people, right? I don't want to harass people. I don't want to bother them. If you were doing this and bothering people, you would have almost nothing left at the end of that 30-day campaign and no one would be opening it. But consistent follow-up is important. We live in busy lives, busy worlds. Things keep moving faster and faster, even more now because of AI. So anyone who is concerned that this is bothering people, I hope that this proves and throws that idea out of your head, because follow-up is really the difference. You will see a massive increase in your closings just from consistent follow-up.
Yeah. And I think too, it's because, like the subject of an email needs to like hook them in. And so it's like, hey, this is the last follow-up on Hunter's home insurance quote. And I have the price in there also too. So like if we quoted it, it's going to say, hey, last follow up on Hunter's home insurance quote, $2,500, whatever. So
100%, as personalized as you can get that. Be thinking about what would grab your attention. The only other thing I don't see that you have in your guys's, and this really goes back to agency preferences, like emojis. So we like to sprinkle one in about maybe a quarter of the automations because there's a certain demographic where it stands out to them and it's fun. Remember that, millennials are 35, 45 years old right now. We grew up with emojis. It's fun. And those are your target clients. So
there you go. Yep.
Another little tip you can try.
For sure. So that's what all the automation looks like in the PNC sales pipeline under new. That's the most beefy. There's a duplicate version of all this for auto insurance that runs kind of the same. It's just geared towards auto, and that would be triggered if it was an auto lead. Contacted is fairly generic. There's really, I don't think we could unfilter everything and it wouldn't change, because it's just, hey, we talked to you and we need to finish your quotes. So we're going to call you, we're going to text you, and we're going to email you. And it's a very, call. The text is very generic, like, hey, thanks for connecting with me the other day. Just need a couple additional details. Complete your quote. Use this link to schedule a meeting. Thanks. That's really all it is. Same for the email. It's not home or auto specific. We left it very generic. It could even be commercial. It could be anything because we're just like, hey, thanks for connecting. Let's reconnect. Yeah. So any way to improve that, you think, Mariah?
No, that's what we do as well, because it could have been they replied to a text, they could have replied to an email, you could have talked to them on the phone for 5 minutes or an hour. And so there's just too many variables to try to address all of those in here. But at the end of the day, it is really you've connected and you're trying to move them to the next step.
Yeah. So we have call, text, email, call, text, email, call, text, email, call, text, email, 5 days, 6 days, call, text, email, and then it's just a text. And then it's just a text, we're just texting after that point. And then, it runs out after 11 days. Appointment set, no real automation there other than, hey, remember to move this out. If you did the appointment and you just left it sitting there, remember to get it out of here. Quoted hot lead, again, remember that's somebody that, we want to follow up with 5 days in a row. So we double call. So call them. If they don't answer, hang up, call back. I know there's, spam issues with that. Some people like it, some people don't. So, I know people that triple call, whatever you want to do. So it's your phone number spam reputation that you can either burn or not. But anyways, so that runs 5 days in a row to where we're call, texting, and emailing, because this is somebody who's a hot lead and we want to call, text, email 5 days in a row. And then the shot clock will move it over on day 6 over to quoted warm lead, which is really the same thing. It's just we're not calling anymore. We're going to send them a text and email every day for 10 days. And then there's this month later Hail Mary call where, all right, we called you 5 days in a row. Now we're going to let you cool off a little bit. We're still going to hit you with some text and email. And then we're going to do this last Hail Mary call. What's crazy? Talking about the open rates, like this last one here, they've gotten a lot of emails and 42% of those are getting opened, which is insane. I probably wouldn't open it, but other people are, so they're opening these emails, right?
Well, it means that they're interested, right? Obviously, all these internet leads in some fashion, some way, they put in a request that they wanted a quote. Yeah. But it is just like all of us, right? If you're watching this, you're probably an agency owner, you work in an agency, and there's probably a million things on your desk that you wish you could get to, you need to get to, but you haven't done yet. And by keeping this front of mind is going to keep it a priority in their mind as well. So that tells you that they want to do this. They just haven't got to you yet.
Yep.
And that's where that consistency really helps out.
Yep. And we're not giving up on them. So
Nope.
approved.
I also want to say I really like this split too, Jesse, that you guys do, because so much of what agents miss is prioritizing their producer's time, right? So when you are chasing tire kickers, you are just wasting opportunity. And I've seen so many agents that get frustrated that there's only a small percentage of the leads that they really get a quote. But the people that you didn't reach, or maybe that opted out via a text or replied stop in an email or something, you were never going to quote them anyways. So do try to think of this big picture. It is a numbers game, and you have to get enough at bats so that you can get the quote numbers that you want. But prioritizing your producer's time, because there's only so much time they have to say, these were hot, call like crazy. These are now warm. Let's just see if they get back engaged, because now they're only focused on hot opportunity. That's where you get those higher closing ratios.
Yep. And then throw that Hail Mary a month later. Everyone else has given up. We're going to call, right?
Well, and a lot of people would have bought another policy, and we know how the first 30 days can be, right? Billing issues, problems with lien holders, discounts falling off when agents aren't quoting properly. So it's a great time to check back in.
Yep. So the next stage is approved hot follow-up needed. Again, this is where they said yes, they want to buy it. We just needed one detail. And we're going to call them every day for 6 days in a row. There's no text and email, because we are texting and emailing them. We're going to call, and if we don't get a hold of them, we're going to send them a text and email. But it's going to be very specific to what we need. So it might be like, hey, Hunter, just a reminder to send me that, driver's license for your daughter so I can get this push through for you. And we couldn't automate that because it could be any one of 1,000 things that you need there. So, but just know, like, on these, we are texting and emailing if we don't get a hold of them.
So there is some general stuff you can do here. We've done a couple things. Going back to those custom fields, you can do a missing information custom field with a drop-down list and add to that as often as you like, and have those fields pop into emails and or text messages. The other format that some of our agents have really liked is just a manual template that also has the drop down, meaning it's not automated, but you would click, I'm missing a driver's license, I'm missing a lien holder, I'm missing a VIN, or something like that, roof document. You click those things, click your manual template, and it would populate and you can send it. So it's a little bit faster than typing. So there is some options, but you're right. If it's very specific, like your daughter, Susan's driver's license, because they have 3 daughters, like, yeah, you're going to have to type that piece in. But if it's a husband, wife, and you're missing like the one driver's license, you could automate some of that. So there is some options there, but not 100%.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. All right. And then pending submit, really it's just, we have a quote approved checklist. And it's like, hey, make sure the closing dates are added to the Google Calendar. That's what we do. And closing quote has been sent to the lenders if applicable. So we just want to make sure that those things happen. And if you have other things, you could add as many tasks as you want in here to make sure that, things are getting done when they're in that pending submit pipeline. So
yeah, I love the pre-bind contingency checklist. And in states like California, sometimes you have to have like a water mitigation cert. We work with, there's no farmers agents in Florida now, but we used to work with agents down there. We still do, and they'll have things like roof, tie down endorsements. So based on your individual market, you can make that checklist, and then it really holds the team accountable because they are saying, I got these things, and it will really help your service team not to have to go back and track down missing contingencies after they bind.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. All right. So let's look at a couple other pipelines. We're going to cover the life pipeline also and our recruiting pipeline. I think those are very important. So keep watching if you like to sell life insurance and hire lots of producers. So a little plug. All right. Life apps. So again, the way we have it, application taken, not submitted, means what? We've taken an application, but it's not been put into the system. Is that what we do there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the application. It depends on the type of life insurance that you're obviously writing at that point. With the new farmers system, that may not be super applicable for everybody, but yeah, that's just the beginning stage of we haven't submitted it yet.
Cool. Signature needed. Hey, we need you to sign this. And, the new system, it kind of goes back and forth a couple times. So we put in some information, then they put in some information, then we put in some more information, and then they have to put in their routing and account number, right?
Yeah, it's all on their end now.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a I don't know why they built it that way, but we're succeeding with it. I think we're close to 100 for the year, and this is about halfway through the year. So for all of you farmers agents saying the new life system, you can't get it done, we're getting it done. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying you can get it done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So signature needed. Following up is like just, hey, this one's ready to go and whatever, they just haven't decided whether they want 500,000 or $1 million, but I need to keep following up. And you can see got a lot of people in there. Underwriting review and paramed, we were just talking, these probably need to be switched, but it doesn't really matter. You can put them wherever they need to go. Paramed obviously is somebody who got triggered and they need a paramed, and we're encouraging them to schedule their paramed, because oftentimes paramed companies are calling, they're not answering, they need to call back, schedule the paramed, it's a big mess. And we're just reminding them, hey, schedule that paramed. And then underwriting review is basically, hey, this is in the underwriter's hands now. We're just waiting for them to do what they need to do. And then last but not least, awaiting payment. Everything's done, it's approved, and they just need to put in their routing account number and push go, right? And so you definitely want to be following up in those stages. I know, like the team leads, they were just talking, they're like, Jesse, we can't get people to put, they're not following up on their life apps. And I'm like, well, are they putting them in AgencyZoom? And they're like, no, that's probably the problem. I'm like, well, make sure they put them in AgencyZoom. Like, I don't know. If you don't use the tools, I don't know how to help you. So,
yeah, I was actually on a call with a coaching company, has been in business for like 2 decades, coaching insurance agencies. And I loved one of the things she said, which was, is this a suggestion or a requirement? So as an agency owner, you have to make that distinction. This is an available tool that you can use, or this is an expected tool for you to use. And then be sure to be holding the team accountable to that, because that's usually what happens is if it's recommended and not utilized, the results will eventually start to show that. And then when you put the tool back in place, require that tool to be used, then you're going to see those results start to increase. And at the end of the day, we all know as agency owners, like we know the things that our team needs to do. Sometimes we just lack some of the conviction to be really stern with this is what you need to follow to be successful. But if your agency and Vlad's and others have proved anything, it is that structure and a path to success is exactly what your employees need to be successful, eliminate frustration, and hit their goals. So have conviction, be confident in that when you want them to use these tools.
Absolutely. And kind of what I told them, I was like, well, the team leads, and they were saying this, and I was like, well, how about you do this? Every time somebody takes a life app, they get to hit the gong. We have a gong in our office, both of our offices, the Medicare office and the farmer's office. And so everyone loves to hit the gong and everyone claps. So I was like, all right, you get to hit the gong if you submit a life app. And that's your cue as the team lead to be like, all right, good job. Now go put it into AgencyZoom and then go double check, right? And then I also told them, let's make a whiteboard. So let's just let's untech this. Hit the gong, everyone claps. That's your cue. Hey, they just took a life app. Make them write it on the whiteboard and then go look. And if they didn't do it, then be like, bro, you just not want to sell. You took an app. You don't want to sell it. Like, you just hate money. You hate their family. What are you doing? So just
very true.
Give them some reminders to kind of micromanage it a little bit. So
there is some stuff that we're working on too, because when you guys take those apps, you get an email from farmers with the application and like the signature link. So we actually have built this out for one agent. She's finishing through testing where we can grab the agent can take that email and just forward it, and it will actually just put it in AgencyZoom for you. So from a very simple forward. So there is still some techie options there available, but the whiteboard and the gong are great because you have to remember that sales is such a mental game, and making it fun is a huge part of the culture.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, you could do like a wheel spin. You could do all kinds of things like, just to kind of incentivize that. But the automation, I'm not going to click in here and go through them all. App taken, not submitted. That's just reminder automation to like, hey, submit the application. Signature needed is text and emails going out to the customer. And we're also calling, but just saying, hey, open your email, sign the app. It's very basic. Yep. Following up is really just reminders for the agent to follow up with the person. Underwriting review is just going to be reminders for us to look at it at least once a week. I can't tell you how many times when I was selling life, I would get busy and not go check my statuses, and I'm like, oh man, this has been approved for a week and a half. I could have, I should have, called back, so just reminders for the agents to check. Paramed, again, is going to have texts and emails. Hey, you're getting reached out to by exam one. Call them back, schedule the paramed, let me know when you do. Basic texting there. Awaiting payment is just reminders for the agents to individually call and follow up and capture the payment, because we're not trying to like text routing and account numbers.
No.
So anyway, so that's kind of what we have in that pipeline built out. And then recruiting will be the last one that we look at.
Before you switch to that, Jesse, I just want to say too, the fact that you guys have life and your PNC in there, when you have producers who are doing both, let's say you also have producers who might write some ancillary commercial or other lines, the fact that everything is in one system, like you mentioned, you'd have to go check, LifeNet or whatever they're calling it today to see your apps versus checking your quotes, in Apex in different areas based on the line of business or going into the farmer's commercial system. Again, to reemphasize that task list, whatever that producer is working on, life, personal, commercial, auto, home, umbrella, it doesn't matter what it is, that task list is going to tell them and then navigate them back to that lead. So they don't have to search through a bunch of systems and check. Making your day-to-day simple for your team is a huge advantage, and in itself gives them so much time back and allows them to have those higher closing ratios and make sure that you're not wasting any marketing money. So AgencyZoom isn't built for life insurance, right? Like actually, if you click that drop down really quick, I want to point this out. Go all the way to the bottom. See that L&H pipeline? Yeah. Anyone watching this, just like pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah, I've asked AgencyZoom to like decommission that so many times, and they agree it needs to be off there because they built kind of a rudimentary, like it's a little embarrassing to be honest. It's really old. Build your own life pipeline, even though these are designed for PNC, it still serves the same purpose. And we've built this out for Medicare. I know you guys use it for Medicare as well. So it is very flexible, but make it simple for your team. Don't give them 4 different CRMs for different lines of business to use or different platforms to look at.
Yep, absolutely. Sometimes like when you get into the AgencyZoom, I know like I went nuts and like did too much and then I had to undo some stuff. And it's like, simple is usually the best solution.
Well, we worked together, it went simple, and then you went gangbusters and then kind of came back. But I experienced that in my own company. We use Monday.com for the back end, like hiring and HR and like literally everything, marketing plans. And we got so broad on all these workspaces. And now we have like 2 for all of our client projects, all of our agent, company operations. So really simplicity is better. So if you look at your system and it's really complex, you've made it harder on your staff than it needs to be.
Yeah. So this recruiting pipeline, this one is for hiring agents. Again, this is a PNC pipeline, but we just changed it to work for hiring employees. So we use Ideal Traits. So we post the jobs to Ideal Traits, and they have a webhook. So it goes through Zapier, and every time somebody applies, they drop in here. You can see application. This application came in today. So this came in via Ideal Traits through Zapier and just landed right here. So you can see in this pipeline, it's a new application came in, and what we want them to do is to complete their assessment. So if you're not familiar with Ideal Traits is a hiring software that a lot of insurance agencies use, and it has them do an assessment that tells you how basically they think they will perform. It's kind of a personality assessment, how they will perform in an insurance agency and what jobs they will be good at. We really like that assessment, and we want them to complete the assessment, which is hard to get people to do, right? So we're texting them, emailing them, reminding them to do their assessment. Whenever the assessment gets completed, Ideal Traits webhook will trigger again, and we have it moving them from this new application stage to assessment completed stage, and it tags them with the personality profile. So like on this one, you can see that, if we go down to the bottom, they got text, hey, this is Alexandria with Farmers Insurance and 970 Medicare, because we have both funneling in here. Thank you for submitting your job application. To continue, please complete the pre-hire assessment. Has the login ID and the link to where they can complete the assessment right in the text, which is really nice. And then email reminders to do it. And then you can see this lead was moved from new application to recruiting. It says by me, but really it was Zapier that did it. We even have Zapier dropping in a link to their resume. So a lot of times we don't even have to go back to Ideal Traits to review these people, because the resume is right here. I can look at it. And it added the tag of their personality profile. So I know this is a consistent. I can look at their resume and I can decide whether I want to interview this person, usually based off of this. Sometimes I'll go to Ideal Traits and read the comments and stuff, but a lot of times I don't have to. Like if I see a sales leader, I'm just going to move them. I don't even care. I don't even care if their resume says Taco Bell, like, or if they didn't even have a resume. I'm going to talk to this person.
Yeah. It's what they're best likely suited for. And this goes back to another trust piece. We've built this out for so many agents. I love Ideal Traits. We worked with them extensively for their web hooking. And you actually can get like the questions to their application in there. You can even get the problem solving score. We put that in a lot because that's a really good indication for a good hire as well, the higher their problem solving score is. And then they have another tool that is a video interview tool. So if you're really trying to funnel down, if you're getting a lot of apps and you really want to see and hear someone talk before you spend time meeting with them, you can even do that. All of that can hook into your AgencyZoom, which is phenomenal. But there's some trust that goes with it. So we've built this for a couple agents and they decided like, oh, it has the wrong personality. Like it might say nurturer, but they hire them for sales and the problem solving score was low, but they used to work at State Farm. So they really want to hire them. I'm telling you guys, they don't work out. We've been doing this for 7 years, thousands of agencies. The agents are like, well, I really think, and I'm like, that's great. It's your agency, do what you want. And they always end up firing them after like 4 or 5 months. So do trust this if you want to use it to get some results. Anything you implement new, my recommendation is always give it at least a quarter. Run it for a quarter and see what it looks like, and then pivot if needed. But if you do it for 30 days and don't feel like it's working, you haven't given it enough time. That goes for automation, for sales, that goes for recruiting as well.
Yeah. And I have another video that I've posted on Ideal Traits, a walkthrough. So if somebody's interested in that, they can look at that. I don't get any money from Ideal Traits, so I don't care if you buy it or not.
We'll have to get a hold of Jeff.
I know. Yeah, I should, because I've sent them 100 people at least. But
it's
anyways,
really also, you guys, if you're posting jobs in Indeed, it's actually really one of the only ways to get the applicants out, because Indeed does not have any kind of API integration. It is extremely manual. I've been using it for like 10 years. Ideal Traits is the path to making your recruiting so much easier.
Yeah. Yep. And so assessment completed just means the assessment's been completed. This is our queue, and we have a full-time recruiter, and she'll review and decide whether she wants to do the initial interview. And if she does, then she'll just drag and drop it into this schedule first interview stage. And that will trigger automation via text and email. Again, sending a Calendly link saying, hey, congrats, you're selected for an interview. Click here, schedule your interview, and we just do a 15-minute Google Meet on that. And then if they don't schedule it after a couple of days, she'll call them also. So that's what we use for the schedule first interview stage. And then if that interview gets scheduled, again, we're using Calendly. We have a Zap set up to where Calendly triggers a webhook through Zapier, and Zapier grabs them out of schedule first interview because the interview got scheduled, we know that, and moves them over here to interview scheduled. So like you can look at this guy here. You can see, again, it says that I moved them from recruiting first interview scheduled to interview scheduled. I didn't. Again, that was Zapier. And it just drops a little note, first interview scheduled for 7/2 at military time, 15:45 with Alexandria. So again, you could just manually do that. It's not hard to set up Zapier if you're using some of those tools. So I would recommend doing that. At that point, we're going to do the first interview. And if Alexandria likes that person on the call, she will then schedule the final interview with the sales team lead that they would report to. And we have another Zapier integration coming from that final interview calendar on Calendly that then grabs them out of here and drops it into final interview scheduled. So she doesn't have to manually do it. And occasionally it breaks, like, because it's matching based on the email address. So if they change the email address or there's a typo, it won't work. So you can just manually move them. But, we just try to make things quick and easy for our team as much as we can. And we have Zapier moving them to final interview scheduled. The last piece of this is if they are hired by the sales team lead or whoever they interviewed with, they will then just drop them into licensing, because that's commonly the next step. And we can look here in like this one, she's been getting some communication. So we're going to babysit them in the licensing stage. Try to see if I can find one that has the automation showing. Well, we just merged some people in here. But anyways, in this pipeline stage for licensing, we send a text and email. Yeah, here it is. So an email goes out and it just says, hey, we're excited for you to join our team. Next step is to obtain your Colorado insurance license. Below are the instructions to do that. Step one, what we do now, because Colorado used to allow online tests and they took it away. So now you have to schedule in person to do the test. And we're in a small rural area and the tests are typically backed up 2 to 3 weeks. So we tell them, schedule your test immediately before you do the pre-licensing. Because if you take 2 weeks to do your licensing, your pre-licensing studying, and then you schedule your test, well, you're another 2 to 3 weeks out. So we have moved to scheduling the test immediately. And then step 2 is register for your pre-licensing course, and we use ExamFX. And so we just have like some little video walkthroughs linked in here to where like they can literally play it, click, click, click. And we want to know if they've done it, so we tell them to, forward the scheduling confirmation from Pearson VUE so that we know they scheduled their test, because we're going to reimburse them for it. I'm happy to reimburse them for the test just to know that they actually did it, because maybe a lot of times people get hired and then go into licensing and ghost us, which sucks. So about half of our candidates that we hire just don't get licensed or ghost us in licensing. So like when it comes to hiring now, I'm telling my team, if you want to hire 5 people, you're going to have to put 10 into licensing, and you're going to have to, you're going to have to actually hire 20 to get 10 that get licensed. That's what it is. So if you want 5, you got to hire 20, 10 will get licensed, and 5 will like pass and actually start. Yeah. So, and we baby.
This is great, Jesse, because so many people hire one person at a time, try to get them licensed. They're calling them, they want them to want to work there more than that person wants to work there, right? Because they're not taking the initiative, which means you're going to hire someone who's not going to take the initiative at work either. So this really it's a funnel, just like a sales funnel, right? Just more reps, and then slowly qualify down to the right people. That's how you get top talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're kind of in rapid hire mode, both on farmers and Medicare. So I've told my team, like, hey, if you're 50%, like where we're at, then, everybody has their own opinion. But I'm like, guys, if you're 50% in the interview on this person, hire them. If you like 50-50 or better, hire them and let the licensing sort it out. Right? Because the licensing is going to filter out a lot of people that aren't serious. And so, that's another way to filter it out. But we also like touch base with them a lot in the licensing process, make sure they're doing good, and hopefully try to get them to not ghost us. Because remember, they're getting other job offers still. It's just like a lead, right? Like they're getting other quotes. Well, these people were applying for other jobs, so they're probably getting other people calling them. So we really want to I will say though, if you have applied for a job in the last 10 years, you might be applying, maybe getting an email back, but you are definitely not getting this level of attention. Yeah. I mean, even in corporate America, it's amazing to me that they don't have really robust follow-up systems like this in place, the ability to virtually schedule, like the videos, the how-to, there is so much of this missing in large organizations. So talk about recruiting top talent. It also shows your company or agency in a very polished, put together way, very tech forward. And that's what top talent's going to be looking for. They don't want the archaic hiring processes, especially as you get younger and younger employees who are used to the tech space because they grew up in it. So this also elevates you from the recruiting perspective, that they're going to want to work there because they can see how consistent and streamlined and tech forward even just your recruiting process is. Yeah. Yeah, and I 100% agree. And another little plug for Ideal Traits. I know I mentioned in the other video where I go more in depth, but like the power of the personality profile to me is insane because what I've learned over, and I've been using Ideal Traits for probably a long, long time, like 5, 6, 7, I don't know. I'm getting old now, so I forget things. But I know that when I see a sales leader, that dog knows how to hunt. And I don't care if they've ever had a job before. I can teach them insurance and I can teach them how to run a quote, but their brain is wired in a way that they will, they will get it done, right? And I know that if I find, somebody that's a nurturer, that they are amazing people. Like you love having them in the office. They're not the most hardcore killer salespeople, but like I've hired so many of these people and these personality profiles are true. I can tell you right now, this consistent person won't get an interview because they just can't deal with change. That's what the personality profile says. And if you can't deal with change, you can't be in insurance. Like it changes daily, right? So, what it inevitably has allowed us to do is give opportunity to a lot of times younger folks that maybe don't have a really great resume, to where if I was just looking at this person's resume, like I was be like, oh, they're not going to do good at insurance sales. But now I know, oh, but they're a sales leader personality. They've just never had an opportunity to like build their resume. And so I'll bring them in, and like 3 of our top producers right now are like 21-year-old guys that have never had any sort of sales or professional job ever. And they're like crushing 80, 90,000 in premium a month and multiple life apps. So,
Well, you found the right people that are wired right, but then you also have the right training, right? So you can't hire those people, throw them in front of a computer and hope it sticks because they won't. So you guys have very robust training platform. So it all matters, right? Having it all connected.
Yeah, and that's Insurance Sales Lab. So we'll plug Vlad in Insurance Sales Lab because people ask me all the time, "Oh, what do you do for this?" I'm like, "Just get Insurance Sales Lab and do exactly that. That's my game plan."
The nice thing about ISL that I love that Vlad did is, I don't know if you know this, but Vlad's personality is consistent when he took the Ideal Trade.
Oh gosh,
he is so. I don't know if you guys know yours. Mine was sales leader when I took it because I bought it, of course, for my agency and took it. But we even had a bunch of our employees here take it. It was really interesting. But he is so organized, right? He's very consistently organized. So that program, it's not like there is pieces of that program that you can find in other programs, but it is so well laid out. It's so easy to follow. And I remember when I got into sales, I would say, tell me what to say. And there was nobody to do that. And Vlad's like, here, say this.
Yes,
and it works. So it really is it's really taking a model and allowing you to learn from it very easily. But that consistent, he's consistently like reviewing reports and adjusting and improving and updating. That's why ISL is so huge, because it's not the same ISL it was even like last year. It's been already updated.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. Well, I think that's all
really
we're going to
quick
walk
before you
through
move on
today.
from here, Jesse, the only other thing I wanted to add was you mentioned Zapier and webhooking. If you're listening to this and that is totally foreign to you, or you look at this and go, I want all these things, but I just have like absolutely no idea where to start. That is where our company comes in. So we do have a development team. We purchased another company last year to do all the webhooking and Zapier, but we can also do API coding, that's like actual coding. I don't know how to do that at all, but we have people can do those pieces as well. So you mentioned things breaking. You can get into Zapier and build some stuff, but if you don't have kind of a little bit more of a robust view of it, it can break more often than it needs to. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there in here for those of you that might have never heard those terms before.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're looking at this and you're like, this is insane, I don't have the time to do it, I would highly encourage you to get a hold of Accelerated Automation and Mariah's team and have them build it out for you. I can tell you for sure, it is not worth your time to build this. You can do it, but you're going to if you hate your life, build it. If you don't hate your life and you'd rather sell insurance and make a lot of money, hire somebody to do it. Like that's what we did in the beginning. And Mariah, I know you were taking what we have and putting it in a package for farmers agents specifically. So you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so Jesse has been gracious enough. We've partnered up together. You're always so transparent, and you're one of my first agencies I ever worked with. So I always joke that you're still reaching out to me when I didn't know a quarter of what I know today. So I'm like, it's a little embarrassing what we did in the beginning, right? But we've learned and come a long way. But we partnered up. Jesse's so gracious and so transparent. We've been able to pull all of this out of his system. Our team has reworked it to make sure it will work for your agency. So there's not, it doesn't say Jesse Dreyer Agency in it. You don't have to worry about any of that. It doesn't have any of their phone numbers. But you'll be able to take these best practices that he has perfected, and we can add that into your agency. Takes us about 2 weeks to do it. We'll also have a course for you to learn from, and you'll have a couple live training calls with our staff to make sure you know how to use it. This will be AgencyZoom only, but if you do want us to do integrations like Calendly and Ideal Traits, we can do all of that as well. So we've created a special package just for farmers agents who want the Jesse Dreyer secret sauce. Very low cost, so reach out to us for that. We can get that put in place and get you and your agency trained. And it will literally save you years of work.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be done right and not messed up. The worst thing about automation is when it goes bad and you're sending rogue texts to people at like 3 a.m. in the morning that don't line up with what's going on. And that's the fastest way to lose a customer. So.
Yeah, you can burn through a lot of opportunity that way. So all credit to Jesse. You guys agents were asking him to do this video. So he graciously asked me to join. And then it was his idea to be like, how can we get this in agencies' accounts so they can just start having success? So your willingness to share is all about like what Farmers is about and what the industry is about is agents helping other agents.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for, helping us out and being willing to do it. All right, everyone, that's a wrap on today's walkthrough of how we use AgencyZoom in our farmers agency. Huge thanks again to Mariah Gates and Accelerated Automation for joining us and sharing their expertise on building smarter agency systems and automations. If you're interested in getting help setting up or optimizing AgencyZoom for your own agency, be sure to check out the Accelerated Automation using the link that's in the descriptions below. Also, if you got value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. Drop your comments and questions down below, as well as share any topics you'd like us to discuss on our next call. And also, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more agency growth, automation, operational content. Also, don't forget to join our Facebook group where we share additional resources, conversations, behind the scenes, agency strategies, and you'll find that link in the description below too. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.